Well, that didn't take very long. The Mavericks traded for Kyrie Irving. He and Luka Doncic are now on the same team. It's Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, 2029 first because Woj just corrected himself. Second rounders going to the Nets as well. Of course, my initial reaction, which was all about the Lakers, now that did not age very well. So, that's kind of funny now. And from the Nets side of this, of course, this is a move where they want to remain as competitive as possible even after trading Kyrie because they still have Kevin Durant, right? Which was most likely a holdup in any sort of Lakers trade because, the Lakers' main things were the picks. So that would have had to have been like a 3-team deal with another team sending players to the Nets. Or if you're Dallas, you could just jump in and say, hey, we got 2 good players for you. Why don't you think about us? And, this was the type of thing we were talking about with Dallas where it was like, will something fall into their lap where they can have that second star next to Luka? Or are they going to have to sort of compromise and trade some of the picks they do have? Well, basically something fell into their lap. Now, they did end up trading one of their future picks that they were able to move. And, okay, now Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are on the same team. I mean, listen, obviously when it comes to Kyrie Irving on a new team, you can imagine all sorts of possibilities between whatever the hell might happen with how he feels about the team, how he feels about the city. Should also be reiterated, Kyrie has had a decent amount of injuries at this point in his career. But as far as the talent and as far as just getting a second really good player next to Luka, I mean, you did it. And so now these games where Luka, he's making his step back threes and he's getting big guys on switches and just cooking them, or he's getting, anybody, and he's just cooking them, or he's attacking them in the post, or he's doing all of his amazing finishing within the 3-point line with the way he can just kind of bounce off of guys because he's huge and all that. Now you've got Kyrie, who of course can just exist around that, which can just be him simply spotting up as defenders are going to stay glued to him and all that. He can of course attack off the catch in all those situations. But then also Kyrie can go into cook mode himself. And you now have just 2 of the best one-on-one players, defense manipulating guys in the league. And for what it's worth, I don't know what's going to end up happening by the deadline because Christian Wood has had some rumors around him because of his extension. And that's another thing too, what's Kyrie's future like in Dallas between an extension and all that. But, for right now, thinking about the roster, Christian Wood's on the team, so of course he can set screens for those guys. Now on the flip side of things, defense still matters. And, they just traded Dorian Finney-Smith, who was one of their best defensive players. And, for what it was worth, there was a stretch recently where Dallas defensively was just not very good. And, Jason Kidd certainly has some things to figure out with his lineups and all that. But that being said, if your offense is just so overwhelming that you're just killing teams anyway, that you can definitely stagger Luka and Kyrie and all that, then, okay, we'll see. Thinking about, let's just say it would be Kyrie who would be leading the bench units, assuming that it's staggering these 2 minutes, you're probably going to win those minutes a lot. But still, defensively, you're really going to need Reggie Bullock to be the best version of Reggie Bullock he possibly can be. Is it possible to see how Luka and Kyrie can play off of each other besides just simple, driving kicks to the other guy and that sort of thing? Yeah, we can see. Could I envision a world where Luka is screening for Kyrie and maybe forcing the smaller guy onto him or something, or just forcing the defense to be like, oh crap, how do we want to deal with this? I could see it. I don't think Luka's going to suddenly be setting a million screens a game, but you could sprinkle it into the offense at times. Sure, there's definitely some options. So that's how I'm feeling for Dallas right now. As for the Nets side of things, so Dinwiddie coming back to Brooklyn. Of course, he's not Kyrie, but we imagine he's going to be taking a good amount of shots with this team. He's going to be running pick and rolls with Nick Claxton. He's going to be bringing the ball up court a lot of the time, we imagine. He's a good player. Hell, he's shooting 41% from 3 on 6 attempts a game, and it's not like he's just taking open catch and shoots. Dinwiddie definitely gets his pull-ups and his contested threes on at times. He's not like Dame or Steph where he's just hoisting them up like crazy, but Dinwiddie's definitely not shy to shoot the thing. So, okay, he's going to serve as the Nets point guard now. And as far as Dorian Finney-Smith, we get it with Dorian. He can fit in basically anywhere. He's going to play hard defensively. He's going to definitely fit into the Nets switching defensive scheme, which that's another thing. Dinwiddie is 6'5". No, he's not going to compete for an all-defense team or whatever, but okay, more big bodies for your switching defense. And then Finney-Smith will, of course, spot up. He's going to shoot his threes, and we'll see if the Nets look to have him involved in plays more than the Mavs did. I don't know. I wouldn't start running a bunch of pick and rolls with Finney-Smith, but we'll see. They've got an extra Mavericks pick now that they could potentially look to acquire somebody else. It's not Kyrie, I get that, but I mean, the Nets should still be a good team, assuming KD's, going to be back from the injury shortly here. I guess the last thing to think about with the Nets is, could they have gotten a better deal? I mean, if there was going to be a Laker move, it probably was going to be a 3-team deal. And I think the Jazz were the most popular team to imagine for that. So there was a little thing about the Spurs earlier. And so maybe it would have been some like Mike Conley, Jared Vanderbilt, Jordan Clarkson, Malik Beasley, whatever combination of Jazz guys you want to put together. Like that could have been a possibility. The Suns were rumored as well. And I mean, they're not going to give you Ayton. They're not going to give you Mikal Bridges. I mean, people were imagining that was going to be like a straight up Chris Paul, Kyrie sort of swap, which, I mean, that would have been pretty wild. And clearly it didn't happen. And I don't even know if the Suns were ever like a real team like that for it. And of course, you can only agree to what the market has out there for you. And I guess from the Nets perspective, it's like, well, we did this and now we have time to do something else with the little extra assets we've got here and stuff. That's all I can imagine, like otherwise you probably could have pushed it an extra day or two and maybe gotten something more. I don't know. Maybe some other team comes off the top rope with a Kyrie offer, and also the Kyrie Irving Brooklyn Nets era is over. It's kind of wild. It just happened very quickly. But I mean, hell, that first season where he had the shoulder injury after having like a 20-game stretch where it's like, oh my God, is Kyrie going to have like his best regular season ever, into just a bunch of other things. And there's James Harden and Ben Simmons and DeAndre Jordan and Kenny Atkinson and Steve Nash and Jacque Vaughn, and that one playoff series against the Celtics where Harden, Kyrie, and KD were healthy, and it's like, holy crap, this is incredible. And now we're here.